Okay, good morning and welcome to another beginning keyboard class. And as we've talked about in the past, it's important to try reading a little bit every day, and if you've been doing that, you'll already see the value, see the progress that you're making. The other thing is we have a tendency as human nature to want to move on rather than sometimes it's important to go back and review. And so I want to go back starting with page 26. If we go back to page 26, the value of repetition in a lot of fields shows up in the final result, because you will see the value as you've played something often enough to where you feel comfortable playing it, but also that you play it smoothly. You know, it's one thing to struggle through a piece and say, okay, I've got that. But the bottom line is, until you can play it in such a way that you're making music, then what's the point, right? So what I'm going to do in the first part of the lesson today is just go back and we're just going to review what we've done up to this point, okay? So starting on page 26, we're dealing at the top with harmonic intervals, seconds and thirds. So with the right hand in the first measure, we're beginning with a second, and then a third, second, third, and then with the left hand, seconds and thirds with GF and GE, GF, GE. Here is CD and CE. Okay, so in this one, right above the first measure, they give you some instructions about how they want it played. Now this one, it says brightly. And then to the right, if you see the F for forte, which means loud. Now, some of you may not have a keyboard that plays loud and soft, but whether you do or not, it's important to recognize these instructions to help you play the music the way that it was written. So, so we're going to start with and then you see the repeat sign, so another thing. Now, this particular piece and some of the other ones have repeat signs, especially in the beginning, but it's not a bad idea to go and play a piece a couple of times as you're getting familiar with it. So the more often that you can play it and go back and review what you've done, the more comfortable you'll be with those particular pieces. So going on to 27, seconds and thirds, just like, except now with the left hand we're going C and D and C and E, and then F and G and E and G, right? So and you see that using the fourth and fifth fingers, or trying to play them together in the beginning is a bit of a challenge. So Okay, so going down to harmonic rock, okay. So repeating. So playing it smoothly, that's important. So, everybody is in a different place. So how often you need to play it to where you feel comfortable, to where you're actually playing it smoothly, you're the only one that can determine that, because you're the only one that knows where you are. And because, this is a virtual lesson, I can't see where you are by the way that you play, by the way that you struggle or don't struggle with certain notes, or whether you play it smoothly or not. I don't have that interaction, which I wish I had in a normal lesson. But so I just need to try to give you what I know that works, and repetition is one of those things, and reading and counting, because, for example, when you're counting, when you look at page 28, Good King, it's, are you counting at this pace? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, or are you going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, or are you going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4? It all matters. And so in the beginning, of course, you'll be playing it, especially those who are true beginners, you'll be playing it slowly, but you can pick up the pace as you feel comfortable. And so again, when you look at the first measure there right above where it gives you the instructions, moderately fast. Now, moderate is one of those words that can go either way, but basically they're saying it's not fast, but it's leaning in that direction, okay? And if they're saying moderately slow, it's not slow, but it's leaning in that way. But you have this area that, depending on how you interpret it, is the way you're going to play it. But also, to have the freedom to play it any way you want, you have to be familiar with the piece. You have to feel comfortable with the piece. And the way that you do that is you play it over and over again. So one of the reasons that I'm repeating today is I want to emphasize the value of repetition so that you can feel comfortable with what you're doing. So now we're dealing with the melodic intervals, so fourths and fifths. So and then with the left hand. So it's C, F, and C, G. And then it's G, D, G, C. Okay? So, oh, sorry. I was going to the left hand when I'm still in the treble clef. Okay, so here we go. Try it again. Now here's a perfect example. There's no repeat sign here, but I suggest that you play it again. whatever speed that you're playing it, try to play it smoothly. And the only way you can do that is you feel comfortable with those particular notes. Well, in the early part of this book, as you can see, we're basically at this point just using, you know, from C to G on both hands. And so we're not moving yet, which we'll be doing very soon. But so the bottom line is you're only dealing with C, D, E, F, G, C, D, E, F, G, whether you're coming from G down or from C up. That's the only notes that you're dealing with right now. So you should, at this point, start to feel comfortable with those notes. So if we go down to the next one, which is my fifth, so here it's piano, which is soft, right? But my concern is you won't be able to hear it. So I'm going to go ahead and play it a little louder so that you can at least hear what I'm doing. Okay, so. So that second to the last measure, if you see the quarter rest sign, so there's a rest right before those three notes. Now, I don't know if you noticed the way that I played it, because up above there it says seriously, and of course that's up to interpretation to a certain degree, but the bottom line is you're playing it a little different. So that's, you know, think about, what does it mean to be serious about this particular, and so that's why I'm playing it this way. You might play it differently, but think about those kinds of things, right? So I'm going to play it again. So just as you can see from the beginning, it's soft all the way down to the second to the last measure, and then it's loud. And so, but here again, to make sure that you can hear what I'm playing, I played it louder. And so, and actually, the other thing is, I brought one of my old keyboards down here, which has a touch, so you can play soft or loud, which is what I didn't have before using the keyboards that we got here for the class. Okay, so going on to page 30, now here's a piece as we look at the harmonic fourths and fifths. What's special about the song that we're going to be playing down below, Jingle Bells? Well, Christmas is only a few months away, and so the more comfortable that you feel playing that one is something that you can play during the holidays. So it has more value when there is something that you can play for other people, and it's reasonably simple, and so with a little practice, you can do that. So, okay, so here we have C and F, C and G as the fourths and fifths with the right hand, and then with the left hand, it's G and D, G and E. And then repeat. So, looking at the piece down below here, the Jingle Bells, well, you're dealing with fourths and fifths with your left hand. And so, you're prepared by what is preceding the particular music that we're about to play, and so that preparation leads you into what we're about to do. So it says merrily. Well, that makes sense, right? Now, towards the end there, I slowed down just a little bit for emphasis. They don't say anything, but it's what I call artistic license. You're the one that's playing this piece. You can play it any way you want to. And so for me, emphasizing the end like that just adds a little touch to it. So, okay, so going on to page 31, now we're continuing with harmonic fourths and fifths. So again, it's, and then now it's F and E. Wait a minute, it's not F and E, it's F and C. So second and fifth fingers, and then so C and G, C and F, and C and G. And then the same above, it's D and G, and then C and G. Okay, so. So down below, it'll be easier for you if you have put the fingering in. They've got most of it in there, but by fingering and then by doing the lessons, which I'm sure you've already done, it just makes playing the dueling harmonics here a little easier. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so going on to page 32, now we're dealing with the C major chord. We're starting with chords C, E, G. And then with the right hand, of course, C, E, G. And then, Brother John, moderately fast, so I would say in the beginning, of course, play it at a speed that you can play it. So let's take a look here. So you see those rests there in the last two measures, right? So let's play it again. Okay, Excuse me. So now going down to, here's a happy song, playing it happily. Okay, now here's a good example. Okay, so I missed a note there. So you can go back to that point so that you can play it correctly the next time. So let's do it again. So now let's go back to the beginning. So the point here is we all make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, and it doesn't even matter what level you're on. It's easy, your mind drifts or whatever. Don't worry about it. Don't beat yourself up. Just oftentimes you can go back to that point where you missed it, play that 2 or 3 times and make sure you've got it, then go back to the beginning, and you'll be surprised at how easily you've been able to correct. And it isn't necessarily that you didn't know what you were doing. Like I say, sometimes your mind drifts or whatever the reason. It doesn't matter. Don't beat yourself up. Just, you know, be good to yourself. And by just practicing reading, practicing counting, and practicing playing, you know, it's going to come, and you're going to enjoy it more as you progress. And it just takes what it takes. And everybody is different in terms of how quickly you learn something, anything. Doesn't matter what it is. We're all different. And so the important thing is to feel good about yourself, the fact that you want to learn how to play, and don't make it so difficult on yourself that you can't enjoy it. You know, this should be a joyful learning process. And so part of learning anything new is making mistakes. And it's okay. Okay, so now we're on page 34. And what we're doing here is we're going down to a B. On the left hand, we've got our C major chord, which is C, E, G, right? But now we're going to go down to B, F, G, right? So that is a G7 chord, right? So from C, E, G to B, F, G. So yeah, play that like that over and over again until you feel comfortable making that move, because that's what you're going to be doing when you play, whether it's a chord or individually. Okay? So we also have now, just here again, a review. We've got the whole note, which is, in this case, with 4/4 time, is worth 4 beats. And then when you have that line like that that connects it to the next measure, you hold it for another 4 beats. So you're holding it for a count of 8 beats with your left hand in the C chord. And then in the third measure, you're going to your G7. And then the next measure back to C. And then you've got that 8 counts again, and then your G7, and then so it's merrily we roll along. And interestingly, they want you to play it merrily. Oh. Okay, so. like I say, there's no repeat sign there, but go ahead and play it a couple of times. Play it more if you want to, until you feel comfortable. Okay, Largo, the next one. So here we're playing it slow. So you've got your 8 counts again with the C, then you're going to the G7 and holding that for 8 counts, C, and then 4 counts and 4 counts, okay? So slow. Okay, all right, so going on. So now, as we continue our review, we have a C7. So we're going from a C, you got your G7. So we're going up here to the treble clef. So you got your G7 with the right hand now, okay? So it's C, E, G, B, F, G. So Marianne then is played, the melody is played with your left hand in the bass clef, and your chords are played with the right hand in the treble clef. So, beginning with, says moderately fast. I don't like the sound of it moderately fast, so I'm going to play it the way I want to play it, okay? Artistic license? Okay. So again, there's no repeat sign, but all right. So moving on. Here is some more of in the bass clef, the C's and G7s. You've probably done those exercises, so it should be easy to review. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I just go ahead and move on to the same thing with the right hand. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so then down here you've got okay, so now we're moving to, we've been doing the 4/4 time signature, now we're going to a 3/4 time signature. We're getting our first dotted half note, which is like 3 beats, right? So, let's try that again. So, you know, you see the instructions down below there. You're starting to move your hands up, and in the second line down below there, they're having you move up an octave, so you're starting to get used to moving around, right? Very important. So then there is some writing to do, which is valuable to you. The more that you understand and the easier it is for you to count and to know how many beats this particular measure gets is very important. So, okay, so down below we have 3/4 time and 4/4 time using those same chords. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then 4/4 time. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So now we've got the slur, which means play smoothly, connecting all of that together. And so what can I share? Moderately slow. So here again, moderately, you determine what moderate is, right? So. That's moderately fast. So you can see how different it sounds at different speeds. So part of it is up to you, part of it is at least trying to play the way that they want you to play it. And once you can do that, then you can play it any way you want, right? Okay, now we get to something that we recognize besides Jingle Bells. And so now we're going to the F. We've got the C, E, G. Now it's the C, F, A. Now, when you see on page 45 up on top, before I play those I always play those chords up there because you're moving from one chord to another, and you it's almost like, you know, practicing before your practice. You're feeling comfortable with the chords before you're actually going to play the music. So with the left hand, it's a C chord, and we're in 4/4 time. So. So this one, depending on how, it says march time, depending on how fast you play it, it's a nice little challenge, the way that they've set this up. So now we're switching. We're going to play the melody with the left hand and the chords with the right hand. So C, E, G, C, F, wait a minute, C, E, G, C, F, A. So you're moving your third and fifth to the F and A, you see? Okay, so then above, see, let's go back. So, so it doesn't matter how many times you've played something, you can still make mistakes, but don't beat yourself up. It's okay, all right? So, going on to page 48. Okay, I'm going to go, it says rhythmically, so speed-wise, I think not too fast. It's a spiritual, so. So you saw on that second line that 5-beat hold there, so very important. So. One, two, three, four, one. Okay, so the F major chord with the right hand. 1, 2, 3. G7. So waltzing chords. Okay, so then reviewing from, oh yeah, okay. Let's see. Okay, I think that's going to be it for today. I just want to remind you that Alfred's Basic Adult Piano Course Book, the greatest hits, will be what we're going to get into next week. So happy playing. Thank you very much.